What is dependency injection? Classes often require references to other classes. For example, a car class might need a reference to an engine class. These required classes are called dependencies. As shown, the car class is dependent on having an instance of the engine class to run, and the car class can get an engine instance it needs by initialize its own instance of engine equal new engine, or the car constructor would receive engine as a parameter, as shown class car having a parameter engine of type engine. And the second solution is called dependency injection. Using dependency injection, you can pass in different implementations of engine to our car. For example, you can pass in an instance of electrical engine to our car, and our car class works without any further changes. Health dependency injection. Health is a dependency injection library and simplifies the process of injecting dependencies into your app's components. Health defines a standard way to do dependency injection in your application by providing containers or health components for every Android class in your application. Integrating health with Jetpack Campus. First step, adding the health dependencies. In this tutorial, we are going to implement health dependency injection in the application we have created in Room tutorial, user entry application. For adding health dependency, open Gradle file project level and add plugins IDE com.google.dagger health Android version 2.48.1, and in our Gradle file module level add plugin IDE com.google.dagger.health.android and add dependencies for health implementation com.google.dagger.android 2.48.1 and ksb com.google.dagger.health compiler 2.48.1 and ksb com.google.dagger compiler 2.48.1 and the ksb Android X health compiler 1.10. Second step, create an application class and annotate it with health Android app annotation and update our manifest file. Back to our user entry application, create an Kotlin class, call it user entry application, okay, and extend it with application class and delete and annotate it with health Android app and open our menu file and update it name Android name dot user entry application, okay, save it. By adding health Android app annotation, health will create a dependency container called application container or singleton component that is attached to application class. Health singleton component is attached to the application object's lifecycle and provides dependencies to it. It is the parent component of the app, which means that other components can access the dependencies that it provides. Step 3, annotate your activity classes with Android entry point annotation. Back to our application, open main activity and add Android entry point, okay, save. By adding Android entry point, health will create a dependencies container that is attached to activity class, activity container called also activity component. This container contains all instances your activity needed, and health activity component is attached to the activity lifecycle and provides dependencies to it. Step 4, annotate your view model classes with health view model annotation. Back to our application and open user view model and add health view model annotation. Okay. By adding health view model, health will create a dependencies containers, also called view model component, that is attached to view model class. And this containers provides instances to our view model, and the health view model component is attached to the view model life cycle and provides dependency to it. For more information about health components or containers which contains instance needed for our application or activity or view model, you can check this table here. Singleton component injector for application, view model components injector for view model, and activity components for activity. Okay. And for more information about health components life cycle, check this table. For singleton component, created at application on create and destroyed at application destroyed. And also, for example, activity components created at activity on create and destroyed at activity on destroy. Define held bindings. Held needs to know how to provide instances of the necessary dependencies from the corresponding components. A binding contains the information necessary to provide instances of a type as a dependency. One way to provide the binding information to held is constructor injection. Use the inject annotation on the constructor of a class to tell held how to provide instances of that class. Back to our project. Here we have user repository class. We are going to use inject constructor. And here using inject constructor to tell health how to provide instance of our user repository class. Also we have user view model class. We already annotated it with health view model and use inject constructor to tell health how to provide instances of our view model, user view model. Okay. And in our composable function here, we only need to use health view model for initialize our view model instance. No need for view model factory, just one line. Sometimes a type cannot be constructed injected. This can happen for multiple reasons. For example, you can't constructor inject an interface. Also, you can't constructor inject a type that you don't own, such as a class from an external library like room. And in these cases, you can provide the health with binding information by using health modules. Back to our class. Here we have database library room library, and we are going to use health modules for providing health with binding information. Here we are going to create package called DI dependencies injection. Okay, inside it create a class, call it database module. Okay, and annotate it with module annotation. And here we need two methods. Method for providing database instance and another method for providing DAO. And we are going to use install in annotation to tell health where we are going to install these instances. Here we are going to install it in singleton component or application container. Okay, class. And for providing database using provide annotation. Okay, and the create function, call it provide user database. Okay, take a parameter context and return our user database instance. Okay, here in our user database we are going to use only this line, return here of type context, sorry, and back to our user database. No need for this code, only function for user DAO. For user DAO using provide this annotation and using function, call it provide user DAO, taking our user database of type user database and return user DAO and equal to our user database dot user DAO. And for interface for providing help with bindings information, here in our application we don't have any interface, but suppose we have interface called analytic service with one function and we have class extended this interface. Here we are going to create class, call it analytic module abstract and annotated with add module. Okay, and also use install annotation for telling health where we are going to install this instance, say activity component. Okay, and here using a bind annotation, create abstract function, call it bind analytic service, and return our interface analytic service, and using our class, and here using bind this annotation to bind the analytic service implementation to the analytic service interface. Scoping instances to containers. We can use annotations to scope instances to containers, as Health can produce different containers that have different life cycles. There are different annotations that scope to these containers. For example, the annotation that scopes an instance to the application container is singleton annotation. These annotations will make the application containers always provide the same instance, regardless of whether the type is used as a dependency of another type or if it needs to be field injected. In our application here, we need only one instance of our database, so we can use annotation singleton before our providing user database function. So we ensure that only one database provided to our application. In conclusion, for integrating health into our application, first add Gradle dependencies, project dependencies, and module dependencies, plugins and dependencies. Okay. And the second step, create an application, extended it application, and annotated with Health Android app, and annotate our main activity with Android entry point, and annotate our view model with health view model, and use bindings for telling health how to provide instances. Here we're using inject annotation, inject constructor in our view model and in our user repository. And for room database, which is external library, we're using a database module, and for interface we're using analytic module. And for scoping our database, we're using a singleton annotation. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe my channel.